Welcome to the match review for Everton at home. Sam, wasn't the greatest performance, was it? Quite deflating today. But basically, what's your kind of take on the game? Obviously, we weren't happy with the performance after we left the ground last night. You saw all of our videos post-match. So, what was your kind of take on this game?
I think after having the night to reflect on it, I think it is a massive loss in our upcoming. I keep saying loss. I know we didn't lose, but a point really. It feels like a loss in our circumstances. Maddison to want to take the glory, be the glory boy of the club and do whatever. Rumours are that he wanted to celebrate the birth of his twins with a goal, but I think the magnitude of the match is he shouldn't have took the penalty. You've got two clear penalty takers. I heard Maddison's not took a penalty since 2018 or 19, I think in that season, which is best part of 4 or 5 years ago, really. So the fact that he let his ego overwhelm him and take the penalty, I just think it was a completely wrong decision in my eyes. We should have just let Vardy take it, and if not Tielemans. I think there's a lot of negatives to take from the game. I know a lot of people say, well, there's a point around the bottom three. But I look at the upcoming fixtures, it's Forest, Southampton. I fancy Forest to beat Southampton completely, and I think that's another team that goes ahead of us. Because if we can't even beat Everton at home, I don't know how we can even get a point away to Fulham, Reedy.
Yeah, I completely agree. We went on the best yesterday. Obviously, we obviously went behind again from a penalty, which was poor from Castagno, and then we got back in it with the brilliant goal from Sunchu, just clutching at straws to get the ball into the net, and it worked. And then a brilliant run from Vardy from Maddison pass, and then just before half time, I was down in the stands and we realised it was a handball for a penalty. And then Yori had the ball in his hands, and I just don't get why, in some way, Maddison got hold of that ball and put it down on the spot, because we know Maddison's not as much as we know he's probably one of our best players. It's hard to say we don't trust him on a penalty, but because he's not been taking them and because he's not the man who always takes them for us, we know he's uncomfortable in that position.
Yeah.
And like Pickford's bottle said, and both probably knew, he's going to go central, and that's what happened.
Well, honestly, there's no. You just, for me, if you're going to take the penalty, you just don't go central. I think anyone who has common sense in today's day and age for football, you just go left or right, and you've got such a high chance of putting it in the net than going down the middle. It was a rubbish penalty. We were still 2-1 up going into half time, but you could tell it was such a mood kill, because as soon as we came in second half, 9 minutes in, they go and score a great goal. The last half an hour, really, there was no energy. The fitness level was absolutely shocking for saying we're a Premier League club. The last half an hour, no one was running around. The subs that came on, none of them made an impact, really. Daka came on, he did nothing. Christensen came on, he got a yellow card straight away, again, which is why I played Thomas over Christensen, because he's just a walking red card for me. Too much aggression. It's nice to see a bit of aggression, but you saw it yesterday. He came on, and the first thing he did was pretty much get a yellow card. Pratt came on, didn't do much, and I think you've got to really point out some of the starters as well that had bad games. Tielemans, he gave the ball away too many times, really. He was just, the amount of times you see he can't even put a 20-yard pass in without losing the ball. Barnes, again, might as well not be on the pitch. Maddison, I felt he didn't do too much. I felt he played pretty decent, set up the goal, but he didn't do too much apart from that. He wasn't really the creating midfield. He felt a bit lost out on the right-hand side. So everyone's, like, a lot of people saying there's positives to take, but
I'm not seeing any positives. I'm honestly, after that penalty miss, that is such a season-defining moment that if we did score that and we did go on to win the game yesterday, for me, you'd be in a completely better spot in the table. Obviously, yes, it's only 2 points clear, but you're 4 points off Everton. You're 2 points off the other two teams, and that means that they have to get wins or even 2 draws to get back to a position with us. So for me, it was season defining. I can't believe that we dropped 2 points, as much as Everton fans will probably say they dropped 2 points as well, because they had just as many chances to put the ball in the net. And fair play to Iverson for clearing them. But again, going back to the poor performances, I thought Barnes was just invisible. He was awful yesterday, and people are asking for him back after he's back fit. For me, he has to be out the side. He's just not good enough. He might be top goal scorer, but he just isn't good enough. I'm sorry. He's not creating any chances. He's not taking anyone on. He's not even having shots on goal. The only thing he did well yesterday was get the penalty, and we fluffed that up anyway. So for me, he wasn't doing anything important to the game. And for me, it comes into the Fulham game now, and you have to play two up top. We've said it. You put Barnes in your last team, but I'm guessing you would drop him after yesterday's performance.
There's a lot of players I'd be dropping. I'd have a completely different team. If I'm honest with you, really, I wouldn't even know in our next tactics talk where I'd even begin. Well, I know I'd begin with Iverson in goal because for me, him and Soyuncu are the only two I could really pick out to be the starters. And maybe Vardy now is scoring goals, but everyone else from, Daka, Barnes, Maddison, Tielemans, all of them very questionable for me. I'm looking at it at a realistic point. Everyone's saying Maddison, Tielemans are great players. They've both got a foot out the door, really. Yeah. They both already know they're going in 4 games. I don't understand why Tielemans is captain of this club when he is 100% leaving in 4 games' time. There's no passion from Tielemans to be captain. He doesn't offer anything. He shouldn't have let Maddison take the ball off him for the penalty.
That's the problem with this. That's the problem with this. We all know, as much as we know Maddison can take penalties because he's one of our best players, the manager said after the game that he was next in line to take penalties after Kelechi Iheanacho. That is complete and utter shit. I'm sorry, that is not right.
If that was the case, Tielemans wouldn't have had the ball in his hand ready to take it. It would have been Maddison that would have run straight up because he would have wanted to. And take it.
It's just hard because we know we probably could have and should have won that game in the moment of that penalty. But now with 4 games left with Fulham, Liverpool, Newcastle, and West Ham, it's going to get even more pressurised on us.
Everyone's saying, again, a lot of people saying it's good to get a point around the bottom 3.
But I think
you've got to look at the bigger picture here. It is completely out of our hands now to stay out of this bottom 3. We can't rely on ourselves anymore because if the way we're playing, if we beat Fulham, great. But if anyone else does it, we're just above them on goal difference now. Again, I just don't see us beating Fulham. I can't see it at all. Forest have got Southampton. Like I said, I can see Forest beating Southampton. They've had 2 good games in a row. And yes, they lost to Brentford, but they got a red card and a late-minute goal scored against them. That could have been a point very easily for Forest. So I just think if we score that penalty and Maddison's ego isn't high, big enough that he lets an actual penalty taker who's not took a penalty in 5 years take it and we score it, it's a different story because you're going into second half 3-1 up. But as soon as we came out, it was so flat, and they come out and it's all Everton and they score. It was all Everton for a lot of the time, really. Iverson made 4 or 5 good saves, which is great to see. So the keeper actually makes saves. It's great to see Dean Smith do something. I do want to say it's not all just down to the players. Rodgers has 100% ruined this club this season. It just completely. It's just you can see Soyuncu. If you had Soyuncu and Iverson in the team, I think we would be at least.
There you go.
10
Like Josh says, 100%. If we scored that, the game is over. I wouldn't say the game was over, but you come into the second half, Everton not looking like they're going to get back in it. And if we went for the 4th, we'd go for the kill, and that would be game over. But again, we can't just blame the players. But again, there's just certain moments now, like you said, Maddison's cost 2 games now. If you do think about it, the Bournemouth game and now the penalty. Even the manager said no one's going to play Maddison for this game, and I'm sorry, but I do.
I agree. I blame him as well. If he's going to have the balls to take, not the balls, but if he's going to want to have I keep saying ego because I think it is his ego that
he wants the moment.
He wanted the moment. He wanted to be the golden boy, win the match. Finish the game off. If he's going to do that, then he needs to take a bloody good penalty. Because I'm not being funny of you, Reedy. I could have done better. You could have done better.
All you had to do was put it anywhere around the keeper other than the middle, and you probably would have scored. But
honestly,
again, it's hard. It's a hard one to take. But now we're going to Fulham with, hopefully, again, a win and 2 draws. We've not lost in the last 3 games, so that's maybe one positive to take. But it's just difficult to take, isn't it, Sam?
Honestly, it's very difficult to take, really, because it's Fulham. They're doing pretty well this season for saying they've just come up from the Championship. Yeah, they've not had an amazing run, but out of the last 3 games, they've won 2, lost 1. should I say it? These next 4 games, where do we pick up any points against Fulham? Maybe. Do we pick up any points against Liverpool? I doubt it. Do we pick up any points against Newcastle? No. Do we pick up any points against West Ham? Depends if they're in the final of the Europa Conference League and if they're going to rest players for it. But if you ask me, really, I think if on our current form, we'd be looking to get 1 more point out of these next 4 fixtures on the way we're playing.
Well, again, we look at it, and it was Imran who said yesterday that if we don't have to win any more games, and we'll staying up.
That's if other teams.
But that's what I mean. But that's relying on every team to lose every single game. And yes, they've still got difficult fixtures, but we have as well. If we might not get any more points now, and that could kill us, because if anyone gets another draw or win, we could be done for. Because Liverpool and Newcastle, sorry, but they are going to probably be losses. I want to be positive, but
well, like you say, goal difference. People saying, yeah, we've got a good goal difference, but when we go play Newcastle, Liverpool, that could completely destroy us. You could lose 4-5-0 against both those teams, and our goal difference is just as worse as the teams around us.
So realistically, I think if you're looking at it, if you do get a point or even 3 points against Fulham, which has to be a good start, but if you don't, and you don't get any points until the West Ham game,
I think drawing to Everton means we have to beat Fulham. I genuinely do. If I said to you, if from Everton to the end of the season, if we get 7 points out, we are safe. I don't think they will. I think they're just going to play their game because they're going to try and get into the top 6 at least this season for Liverpool. Again, really, it's so deflating, isn't it? Because we could have been.
We could have been in such a better position.
And as like I say, it's only 2 points dropped, but it's 2 massive points when you look at our upcoming games. And
all it would have took to get a draw win against Fulham. And for me, we would have been a lot safer than we are now. Because, like I say, we're 2 points clear. If we get another 3 points, that's 5. And it's just hard. So it's just again, it's so deflating. It's just hard to talk about because now we're going to the last 4 with a lot more of a difficult time on our hands. Because again, I can't see us beating Liverpool. Can't see us beating Newcastle. And it might get to the point where we have to, otherwise we'll be going down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to put up this comment here by Ben. He says, we deserve to go down. 0 points from Southampton and Bournemouth. Draws against Leeds and Everton. We aren't good enough. I think that is the moral of it, really, where we think we can get...
We're just going to get lucky on people not being good enough as well.
Phil said it pretty good yesterday. We've got a championship team. A lot of these players are championship quality. Some of the ones we've brought in over the past few years are not good enough, really. I mean, I know you like Daka as one of them, but he's just not good enough for the Premier League. Pies, I think he's had an okay season, but he's nothing special. I'd say he's been an average season for him. Soincho, he's clearly like one of the best players we've got at the moment, and it just proves how bad of a manager Rodgers
is. And he's actually signed to go somewhere else.
Yeah, he's off to go Atletico.
And he's still playing one of the best players in the team.
Scored a goal, he played pretty well, won all his headers, and I just struggle to see where we go from here, really. I think if we get relegated, and I think there's a very good chance we can get relegated and still will this season, at least we're going to have a lot of these high wage bills off and we can rebuild a championship team, I guess. It's horrible to say, but
I honestly don't think if we went to the championship, I don't think we'd bring in championship level players. I do think we'd bring more experienced Prem players who, if we brought right, we probably could come up straight away. That's if we brought the right players.
Again, but it's all about funds, really. We're not. If we get relegated and a club of our stature, we wouldn't have the funds to...
We would have parachute payments.
Yeah, but
we would have a lot more money on the books.
If we don't come up that season, we're screwed, really. Sunderland, they went straight back down. Premier League club with Premier League players in the Championship, and they went straight down to League One. That would happen to us if we did that. We'd lose all of our players on cheap money anyway. If we get relegated, a lot of our players that go... Like someone like Madison, they'd be like, well, he's a championship player. We don't need to pay more than 40 million for him, and we take it because we need the money. So it has been a real mess up, and it's not just Rodgers. I know Rodgers is a massive part to playing, but you have to blame the board. I blame Top quite,
we got rid of Rodgers too late.
He didn't bring in any money. Didn't sack Rodgers in enough time. It does all stem back to in the summer, really, where we didn't bring anyone in. We let Casper go 2 days before our first fixture for ridiculous reason. We let Fafana go like 2 days before transfer deadline day when we knew he was going for the past 2-3 weeks to Chelsea. And we brought in Pies we needed someone quickly on cheap. And he's been a decent player for 15 million, but to let you know, it's rubbish business from Leicester's part.
Yeah, I think that's probably where we're going to end it. Obviously, 2-2 at Everton at home. We've got obviously Fulham next. We'll be doing a tactics talk for that later in this week. But again, like you say, with how we performed and what players performed like yesterday, I think we'll be a completely different team. And I think it deserves. We saw that Thomas got put in after Christensen had a poor game against Leeds. So you've got to kind of give what's the word? Give a bit of credit to Dean Smith to basically say you have a bad game, you get out.
Yeah, I mean, I said to you, we did our tactics talk, so I said I'd put Thomas in over Christensen, and I think I'd still stand by that, to be honest, for the Fulham game. Christensen, too hot-headed. Like I said, he came on for 5 minutes and he got a booking within 2 minutes of coming on the pitch, really. So it's just something, excuse me, that we don't need in the team. Someone that's hot-headed, running up and down the pitch. Thomas was at least standing his ground as a defender, and he covered quite a lot of crosses, as much as people don't rate him. But I think the team selection again was a bit wayward. I had no idea why Ndidi was in the team, really. He was one player this season who's been awful, so I don't understand why we put him in against a team that we know are going to come and attack us.
Yeah, again, I thought he was the reason why we gave the penalty away, but obviously it was Castagno. But yeah, there was just so many, I won't say errors, but there were so many times he nearly lost the ball because he was too slow on the ball and whatnot. So it's just, we're going to have to look at it, and I think who's going to be deserving of the lineup on for the Fulham game later in the week for the tactics talk.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for me. To be honest with you, I need to think about it because I don't even know where we would go into this game, who plays and who doesn't. I've got a few players, but apart from that, I have no idea who really can be in this team to get anything out of Fulham. It's a must win, really. I think if we
now we've drew to Everton, it is a must win. Well, I think Will said to me yesterday, and it kind of put a positive look on it. It said that I think you would have took a draw at Fulham and beat Everton. So if you do it the opposite way around and you get a draw at Everton, you beat Fulham, then you would be happy.
I think you would be happier, and I think a lot of fans would. I think it's just more the fact that it should have been 3-1.
You dropped points at Everton, and you should be getting them.
We should have been 3-1 up going into the half, and 10 minutes into the second half, it's 2-2. So for me, I see it as 2 points drop. Sorry, because we drew in the end. But in the grand scheme of things, those are the games we've got to beat. If we can't beat Everton at home, really, like I said, I don't see how we go to Fulham and get anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. But that's where we're going to end it, guys. Appreciate you all coming on. Make sure to check out the tactics talk and the watch-alongs and that lot for the next week against Fulham. And obviously get your comments and views on the posts that we do on socials all week long. So make sure you check them out, and we'll catch you next time. See you.